that we've been working with, that I've been experimenting with to help analyze SEO. And it's a little bit of a secret for those who don't know, but for those who are Spark Sites owners or those who might not be Spark Sites owners yet, check us out at sparkmysite.com for sure. But it's going to be a tool that we're going to share with you, and then we're going to show you how to use it. We're going to show you what the scores will be as the scores come up, and then try to contextualize those a little bit for you, because I think a lot of you have been getting like SEO reports and things like that. However, their scores actually are quite scary to some, and I want to kind of break that down a little bit so that it's not so scary. So real quick, we're going to be looking actually at a sample website of someone who I'm kind of analyzing right now. They've asked me to kind of look at their website for a variety of purposes. So what we've got here is I want to show you how to access this secret tool first. So if you have your own website somewhere, Spark Site, and you know that when we at Spark Sites build you a site, we always do an initial SEO pass, but we tell everyone there's a lot more that could be done. And so I want to contextualize the scores you're going to see, but I also want to show you and empower you how to actually grab this tool. So check this out. If you actually pull up your website, let's and as it's going, it's just actually analyzing your entire site. So bear with it real quick. And once it's done, it refreshes the page back here, but then it shows a score. So whoop, where's our score? There we go. So it shows the score, and I'm going to blow this up for you to see. It's got 5 major areas: how your site is performing, how accessible is the website in terms of ADA compliance and accessibility, what best practices you have, and generic SEO. In all 4, and then do you have any progressive web apps? Is it a progressive web app? That actually will be blank for most people with a website. There's not a lot going on in a progressive web app, but we could kind of talk about those aspects later. But the big score that everyone sees is performance. And they might see anything from the low teens to, you know, they should be seeing 100% in an ideal world. And then there's a bunch of metrics. Now, if you're a visual person, as many people are, and you don't know what to think, you could see this and suddenly go, oh, my web developer screwed me over. I've lost so much money. And that might be true, and that might not be true. Depends on what you paid. In general, if you paid anywhere under $2,000 or $3,000 for your website, you really should not expect anything here to be extraordinary. The market rate in general for a website does not typically cover any comprehensive SEO. Now at Spark Sites, we do an initial SEO pass, and I would say that regarding SEO, you should definitely have decent SEO in the ranking down here for SEO practices, which are like links being crawlable and stuff like that. Now you can see even with these errors, no alt tags, there's no crawlable links for this particular website, which we didn't develop, they still get a higher 86. But I would actually pay attention to several things first. Accessibility. Accessibility really affects your SEO a little bit, but more than anything, it makes you at risk or not at risk to lawsuits about whether or not screen readers for the blind or color code for the colorblind, things like that, things that might trigger if you have too much flashing on your website. Does that cause someone to trigger into an epileptic fit? Like accessibility score, you really want to make sure that you have a decent accessibility score. I would say 75 and above. Ideally, it would be better. And then I can actually show you another accessibility tool that we deploy that kind of circumvents even this. The score in this test would actually show that we have a moderate ADA compliance or accessibility score, but the tool actually passes a huge amount of muster, way more than that, because of how the underlying technology is read or not read. Now, performance, though, is important. Performance, when I say important, it's important to pay attention to, but again, if you have a WordPress website or a Squarespace or a Wix website, you're gonna see, and you didn't pay for SEO. Specifically, you didn't pay for technical SEO. Your performance is gonna be red. It's not gonna be an extraordinary number, and that's okay. Is your SEO suffering? A little bit, but not extraordinarily much. So I wanna help you set your expectations. If you want these numbers to start going up, you are going to need to be mentally and emotionally prepared to spend a couple $1,000s to get your technical SEO higher, as well as your content SEO a bit higher. The reason I say that is very labor intensive to actually make your standard WordPress website have technical SEO on every single post and every single page going through the roof. Is it realistic to expect your average market rate website to score score green across the board? Not really. Some people spend thousands to get green across the board. You just want to make sure that you're in a good habits of doing small things to get these numbers progressively getting better and better. So you want to be with the group, you want to be with the search engine optimization team or a web support team that is educating you in the process, and that your trend over time is just getting better and better. What's the number one thing you can do? Content, 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 and posting that value-added content to your Google My Business first, and then your social media in other places. So again, if you do this test on your website and you're scoring a 40, don't freak out. Yes, ask your web guru, hey, how do I interpret these numbers for my own website? And have an action plan for improving that over time. But don't freak out, because chances are if you spent market rate, you probably didn't spend enough money to get all of your technical SEO and your on-page SEO up to where you really want it to be. So that's that, a secret tool. Just wanted to give that to you today. Please feel free to comment in the comments and ask any questions you might have, or message us at sparkmysite.com. and we'll help you get sorted, or at least point you in the right direction. Maybe we're the right fit for you, maybe we're not. But again, don't be afraid to reach out, because we'd love to actually talk you through how to interpret this for your site. And you might even be one of our clients and pull this report up and look at your site and be like, Grant, what's going on with my site? We can talk about that for context, but I definitely want to empower you with the tools. So that's all we have today. Email me at grant@stateofthespark.com. Visit us at sparkmysite.com, and we look forward to connecting